GIFT, which stands for Georgia Intern Fellowships for Teachers, was founded in 1991, and each summer during the past 29 years provided paid, on-site teacher internships in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Georgia teachers were placed in university research labs, businesses, and informal science education institutions such as museums, zoos, and aquariums. In keeping with our 30th year of operation, summer 2020, and the summer of COVID, GIFT shifted its practice of placing teachers at on-site labs and businesses, and instead work with sponsors and teachers to create virtual internships. The GIFT Highlights video that you are about to see showcases how GIFT was able to continue providing teachers real-world context and experiences, enabling them to build innovative, relevant curricula for use in classrooms.
The Savannah Economic Development Authority exists to help facilitate capital investment and job creation in Chatham County. Nikisha and I really enjoyed working together, and we got the opportunity to work together both remotely and in person. We started remotely and were able to come together in person for a few weeks, and so that was nice. It was a mix of Zoom and telephone and just basic emails. It wasn't specific to the GIFT program or anything else. I think the disadvantage of working remotely is the lack of kind of organic collaboration and brainstorming and innovation that can happen when you're in the room with somebody. And so it was very nice for us to be able to connect in person and work together for those last few weeks. Nikisha was great at really telling us what teachers would want. And that's exactly what we wanted her to do. For my work on a regular basis, I meet with employers that often express interest in working with the school system, but they don't know where to start or how to engage. And so she and I developed a menu of long-term and short-term investments that just show and illustrate literally the variety of ways from sending a check, which takes 5 minutes and no real attachment, to adopting a classroom and having your employer or your organization work with that classroom throughout a year.
On the action plan, it asks for things like the standards that I would teach, and what it is that it's a community's social studies standard. So when you go into looking at those standards for business development or community partners, community helpers, that's a standard that we teach. Not only does middle school teach, but also high school teach business relations and things like that. So the action plan went along with Georgia standards and national standards for bringing in those community partners, along with how it is that you prepare to be a partner yourself. So it's not just the outside partner, but how does the school be a partner and what it is that they can offer to those businesses. So that action plan actually went along with what I was doing for CETA.
We at CETA have, a vested interest in making sure our workforce is developed at its highest and best. And I think we'll continue to work with GIFT because that has given us an opportunity to lead by example.
What the GIFT program provides is a lifetime of relationships with others outside of what I do. Because sometimes we get bogged down in just what teachers do and what our students need. So it just provided me an opportunity of the outside and to see what it is that helps just make the circle go around, what helps bring businesses to us, how it helps our school, our education system, how it, it's just a circle of life. So I definitely appreciate being accepted into the program and having that lifetime of friendship.
We all learned when we are in high school that plants do photosynthesis and convert CO2 that they take from the atmosphere into sugars. So my lab specializes in studying how these sugars go from the leaf, where photosynthesis takes place, to the rest of the plant. with the idea that if we can understand this process, model it as chemical engineers usually do, we could one day optimize it in a computer and then create better crops for a sustainable agriculture. Last year when Ben was in our lab, he was making small devices that would allow us to grow plants on them. And these devices will be see-through so that we can image how the root system develops, which usually happens underground and you cannot see the architecture and the rate at which different roots are elongating. And we wanted to have him back this year to help us finish up his project. But once COVID hit, we had to scratch that idea because there was a limit on the number of people you could have in the lab. So we came out with this idea that he could work remotely, and rather than doing research per se, he could try to make the results and some of the concepts in our lab more understandable for his high school class. It has always been my idea when partnering with high school teachers that science in general is very visual, and if we can see it, we can understand it. And it's the best way to inspire new scientists if you can show them how beautiful nature actually is.
To help communicate to a younger audience, it would be good to create something kind of fun and exciting and colorful. So we decided to enter into this realm of artistic rendition of the research, and that would be through a comic, because we thought that's a very popular medium which students at like high school age are reading nowadays. They would really like to be reading comics. I've noticed that as a teacher, a lot of kids are picking up like comic style books from the media center. So that was one of the reasons why we went with the comic option. I would definitely love to participate in another internship. I think that the value a teacher gets from getting experience in the field allows them to see the connections between their classroom and the real world and not live within the four walls of their classroom in that isolation. I mean, mine literally has no windows, so it kind of feels very isolated at times. So it's nice to get out there and experience the real world and the kind of work that's being done out there and be a part of it. As for the COVID-19 situation, I like to be as optimistic as possible. So even though the situation put us in this digital format, I like to say that it helped me understand how digital learning and digital work can be done, which allowed me to then, after this summer, implement that into my classroom now that I'm teaching in a hybrid digital and in-person format. So it's definitely been a challenge for a lot of teachers, but I feel like I was a step ahead because I've already been working in a digital format prior to the school year starting.
I think there is so much that I personally need to learn about how the curriculum is put up for high school education. And this is an opportunity to meet driven and passionate teachers that can show me how to put an action plan together. I think I've learned as much from Ben as about how education works as he has learned from our lab in terms of the science we do.
We sincerely thank our sponsors and mentors who adjusted their labs and workplaces, allowing teachers to virtually conduct experiments, interpret research data, communicate findings, and apply STEM concepts to solve industry challenges.